Hello, everyone. Thank you again for joining us with Save News TV. I am AZ Hubbard, your host, and today we're doing a follow up story on our story yesterday, day before yesterday, regarding the $450,000 for the crossing of illegal immigrants per person. Now, again, at the onset of this broadcast, I'd like to state that this is not about hate group or hating on one particular group. This is about the acknowledgement and the edification of African American people to inform them of what is going on and how to proceed into going forward as far as reparations, voting, not giving your vote away, just general information. So, at first, we're going to start off with the article that states that the Democrats have been silent regarding this matter, but the Republicans are the ones that are encouraging the stoppage of this policy to give $450,000 per person or a maximum of $1 million per family to those that cross the border illegally. And so this is not to endorse any Republican or whatever, but this is to acknowledge and let you know that who is doing what. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go on over to the article, and we're going to read that article and bring it right on up. All righty. So here's the article here, and it states that the Republican cabinets are demanding answers on the report for payments to illegal aliens, and that it is a horrific decision. Dozens of House Republicans are sending a letter to the three of the President Biden's cabinet secretaries regarding the reports that their agency are in talks to give illegal immigrants separated at the border under the previous administration $450,000 each. The Republicans are demanding answers from the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, I'm sure I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra, and Attorney General Merrick Garland. 36 House Republicans, including the House GOP caucus chair, Representative Elise Stefanik, I'm pronouncing it wrong, of New York, and Representative Dan Crenshaw have signed onto the letter, which is led by North Carolina Rep. Greg Murphy. In the letter, the Republicans outline their severe concerns of the reports that the agencies are considering paying $450,000 to illegal immigrants separated at the border under the Trump administration. The rationale for this egregious abuse of taxpayers' dollars is to compensate these persons for lasting psychological trauma. Again, if you refer back to our initial video regarding this, we state that lasting psychological trauma is the descendants of slaves, not crossing the border illegally, knowing you're coming into a country and you're breaking the law. But okay, I digress. Let me move forward. The lawmakers wrote in the letter obtained by Fox News. Now, also, let me pause here. Do not kill the messenger. I know a lot of people, Fox News, do some bad reporting, but this is the article, and sometimes we don't get information we need because we disallow information from certain sources. We at Save News, we get sources from all places, not just one. All right, so let me move forward. Do, however, note that these persons crossed into our country in a knowingly illegal manner, fully aware of the consequences of violating our rule of law. promising tens of thousands of dollars to those who unlawfully entered the United States would only reward criminal behavior, but it would surely send a message to the world that our borders are open and our rule of law is not will not be enforced, the letter also reads. The lawmakers charged that Biden administration has been in civilizing illegal immigrants since the first day he came in office, when he struck several Trump era border policies, which the lawmakers wrote has led to the worst self inflicted border crisis in history. Murphy and his colleagues also warned that if Biden administration decides to pay the hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxpayers' money to thousands of illegal immigrants, the administration will unilaterally incentivize migrants from more than 150 nations across the world to surge our borders. Compare this hefty compensation sum to the 2019 average median American household income, which is $68,703, they wrote. Furthermore, compare it to the maximum payout of the SGLI life insurance policy for military members, which is $400,000. At a time when American households is dealing with historic rates of inflation and the price of average consumer goods, groceries, gasoline, heating have risen exponentially. It's shocking that our government is considering rewarding illegal activity for pure political reasons, the Republicans wrote. Why is this potential compensation for families separated in the 2018 under the previous administration and not those separated between 2008 and 2016 since 2021? The lawmakers' position. Now, that is a very good question. There were people going there, but okay, let me move on. The lawmakers concluded the letter by calling on the secretaries to reconsider their horrific decision and rescind any potential action to this effect, as well as demanding answers on the interdepartment talks as soon as humanly possible. We are more than able to meet to discuss this urgent travesty, they wrote. The Wall Street Journal reported on Thursday that the three agencies were in talks to make the payments to illegal immigrants. The journal stated the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and Health and Human Services considering payments that would amount to close to $1 million a family, though final payment amounts could change as some families would likely get smaller amounts depending on their circumstances. The sources also told the journal that around 940 claims have been filed by immigrant families who were separated at the border. All right, we're going to ask you all to do the math on 940 families times 1 million families. Then we are at um, $1 billion. So I'm going to put the link to that article in the chat so that you can reference it yourself. All righty then. Now, one thing as far as going towards immigrations, and he's going to now news article that he's going to bring forward the memorandum to end the Trump remain in Mexico policy. So he is adding another layer to invite people to come into the country in the remain by disassembling the remain in Mexico policy. So let's get to that right now. Okay, this article is from Reuters, which is the news wire for many reporting services. Biden administration issues new memo ending Trump remain in Mexico policy. Now, this is dated on October 29th, which was yesterday, and it's very obvious that he is tone deaf to what is going on. The Biden administration on Friday made a renewed attempt to end the Trump era immigration program that forced asylum seekers to wait in Mexico for the court hearing, according to Department of Homeland Security. The administration first ended the Migrant Protection Protocol programs, informally called Remain in Mexico, earlier this year, but was ordered to restart it by a federal judge who said it had failed to follow proper regulatory procedures. The United States Supreme Court in August rejected an effort by the Biden administration to block the judge's ruling. The memo is comprehensive, DHS officials said on a call to reporters. It squarely addresses some of the alleged failures of the prior memo. All right, we're just moving that article so that we can see that the Biden administration is very much interested in having more people come into the country. Again, I will reference this article in the chat because we believe receipts, and you can always go to that article. Now, the next article that we're going to bring up will be Joe Biden's 1975 comments regarding slave reparations. Now, that was in 1975. However, we will, as we break down this story today, we will show you and walk you through that things really has not changed with Joe Biden and his position. So let's go. In 1975, Joe Biden comments slamming slavery reparations, school busing resurfaced by the Washington Post. Former Vice President and potential, this was dated on March 8th, 2019, potential 2020 presidential candidate Joe Biden is defending his record on civil rights after the Washington Post resurfaced the 1975 interview, which the then senator opposed slavery reparations and school busing. The Biden told the People paper, a Delaware weekly newspaper, in 1975, and I quote, "I do not buy the concept popular in the 60s, which says we have suppressed the Black man for 300 years, and the white man is now far ahead in the race for everything our society offers. In order to even the score, we must give the Black man a head start, or even hold the white man back to even the race. I don't buy that." Biden continues, "I do not feel responsible for the sins of my father and grandfather," he continued at that time. "I feel responsible for what the situation is today, for the sins of my own generation, and I'll be D if I feel responsible to pay for what happened 300 years ago." In the interview, Biden also opposed government efforts to desegregate schools by busing white children to majority Black schools and Black children to majority white schools. He states, and I quote, "I oppose busing. It's an asinine concept. The utility of has never been proven to me," he said. "I've gotten to the point where I think our only recourse to eliminate busing may be the constitutional amendment. The new integration plans being offered are really just quota systems to assure that a certain number of Blacks, Chicanos, and whatever in each school." Okay. The man said whatever. Okay. That to me is the most racist concept that you can come up with, he said. What it says is, in order for your child with curly Black hair, brown eyes, and dark skin to be able to learn anything, he needs to sit next to my blonde-haired, blue-eyed son. That's racist. Who the H do we think we are? that the only way Black and men and women can learn is to rub shoulders with my white child. Okay. So now let's just, as we break that down, we know, again, I'm putting the link to that article in the chat. We know that he was not thinking about anyone being racist, and he know that wasn't the purpose of desegregation. Notice how he said, instead of saying beside a white child, every time he referenced a white child, he says my white child. I'm just going to leave that for food for thought. But again, he definitely has issues, and he has an agenda and how he truly feels, and things have not changed. He wants you to believe that they've changed in so much that he has decided to say this year now, because he knew the seat was hot in March 2021, he says he announced plans to pay reparations for slavery. Okay, this was March 21, 1st, 2021. And we see no movement, but we see how fast $450,000 per child per family moved under his administration. Okay, let's just start off with that. And this, the article states, slavery ended seemingly forever ago, and the nation has moved on. Black Americans have equal rights and every other American protections under, let's get to what he says. Let's move. Okay. Biden plans to provide free college tuition to students who attend historically Black colleges and universities, better known as HBCUs. And we know, taking a pause here, as we know, he cut funding to the HBCUs that the former President Trump had in place that secured that bag for the HBCUs. Well, in his proposed plan, he has cut funding to that. All right, let's move on. And as a way for white people who have never owned slaves to apologize for slavery, the Daily Caller reports. President Joe Biden will move forward with his policies beneficial to African Americans as Congress consider creating a commission to study the merits of direct reparation payments. Hold up. Let's stop. It has been hundreds of years. The federal government has admitted that African Americans are owed reparations. And number one, do not, as you notice, when it's time for reparations for everyone else, it's a cash payout. Now, but when it's a reparations for African Americans and Black people, they got to make a study, and they want to give free tuition to students. Listen, check this. At the way that real estate is today, you give us our 40 acres and you give us our mule, and I promise you that parents will be able to pay for their own children to go to college. We don't need you. Check this, Joe Biden and your administration. We don't need you to supervise our funds. We know how to spend our funds. Even if you give it to someone and they blow it, it's theirs. It's theirs to blow. Give us our money. Give us our money. We don't want your commission study, and it's been studied for hundreds of years, for a long time. We don't need anyone breaking down, how it should be paid. Just pay it. You know what the deal is. The deal is 40 acres and a mule. At the rate that acreage is now, depending on the location, and don't try to give us no sandy land. Give us the warranted land that's rich, that has natural resources. Also, give us the mineral rights to the land in which we receive. Now, we need the mineral rights on the land which we will be positioned on. We need our mule, and our mule now is the top of the line tractor or whatever. Now you can give us some cash along with that also as interest payments, but we definitely need our 40 acres and we need our mule. All right. We don't need anybody studying anything, um, because we've it's been studied to death. Okay. And then he says, if you start talking about free tuition to historically Black colleges and universities, you will start about free community college in Title One and all those things. Listen, I went for my master's degree several years ago, and I'm still paying. Okay, still got that college loan debt. So again, everybody don't have anyone in college. Everybody don't want to go to college. Give people what is rightfully theirs, what was rightfully agreed upon. Now, we have a segment of the melanated community that states that they are the Aboriginal people here on this land, in this country, and they did not come from Africa. All righty. Well, because that's their position. However, their ancestors were enslaved, so they still deserve land, because even if they're not descendants from Africa and brought over here, then that means you stole their land. All right. Now, like I said, we have those six that sect of uh, melanated people that say that they are the Aboriginal people here. So you still owe them their land. All right. So there's no getting around the 40 acres. There's no getting around the mule. This is what needs to transpire. And it needs to happen expediently. And we don't need anyone doing any more studies. We don't need anyone um, governing how we spend our money. You did not govern how you want to allocate $450,000 to a group of people that broke the law and crossed our border. Okay. So I'm going to leave this article here again in the chat. I love doing that because we do love receipts, because there's nothing more important than for you to be able to study and research for yourself and find it for yourself. We know that Joe Biden has no intentions whatsoever of giving reparations to um, slave reparations. So then you say, well, what do we do? First of all, number one, there's elections in some states, some regions next week. They're out here begging. They're trying to get into they're getting into your pulpits. Number one, don't let them in your pulpits. They have absolutely no business in your pulpit. None. No politician does, regardless of which side of the aisle they're on. They want to beg for your vote. Get out in the street and beg for your vote. Because when it comes time that there is a divide between church and state, the church suffers. So don't let them in your pulpit. Number two, what you need to do is to move forward with the reparation plan. Contact every senator, every congressman in your area to find out their positions on reparations, and let's get them out of office. If they do not want to or have plans to do reparations, then what we need to do is vote them out of office. Also, as you note, money has been spent. It's only been January. Money has been given, $6.4 billion for the Afghan refugees. Now we're looking at almost $1 billion for those that have crossed the border illegally. And was separated at the border, for only 940 people, okay, unknowingly crossed the border illegally. So there is a reparation plan. Again, like I stated in my previous video, this is one plan. I'm sure there's others. And I would encourage all of you to get an attorney or contact an attorney, began to demand those funds. Now, this site here is the site for reparation plans. You can contact them and you can see what they have to offer. But like I stated before, do not put these people back in office. You see that they are not here for you. Also, let's look at the quote unquote civil rights leaders and the Democrats that are in office. They have said not a word. They have co-signed on this and not stood up for you. They are in there begging for you to put them back in office again this next term. My question to you is, what do you benefit by putting them back in office? Nothing. Absolutely, positively nothing. Let them lose. Let them lose. Because the more that you vote in their favor and don't demand anything, regardless whether it's Democrat or Republican, and don't demand anything for your vote, every year it's less and less power that the African American community has. And it's very obvious that the power to be is shifting. As he stated in the leaked audio, that the Hispanics would be the white Europeans would be the minority group, and that Hispanics will be the majority group by the year 2040. That's what he stated in a leaked audio to African American leaders. And that's a wonderful thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with the Hispanics being the majority in this country and the white European being a minority. We've been a minority in this country for years, so we know what it's like. But the thing that we need to do in order to preserve our power is to begin to do the exact same things that the other groups do, and that is take them to court. There is no other remedy. They have been studying for years. There's been a plan for years. They made reparations to the white slave owners once slavery was abolished, but they did not give reparations to the actual slaves. So let's get that straight. It is time for us to join in unity and begin to demand what is rightfully ours, because there's no study come there might be a study, but it's just going to lay and collect dust. We don't need a study. The government has admitted that they have um, wrongfully enslaved African Americans. They have admitted that they owe African Americans reparations, and a whole plethora of things that they have admitted to. However, the funds have not come forward. So again, like I always encourage you all to begin to demand what is yours. Ask, stop asking, demand what is rightfully ours. As if you have to contact your representative, began to reach out to some of these platforms, but also know this. I'm just going to be real with you. If don't think that Al Sharpton, Roland Martin, um, Jesse Jackson, and all of these people are going to help. No, what they're going to do is try to discourage you from moving forward into receiving what is totally yours. Now, I respect their platform because I respect everybody's platform. However, we need to contact the powers that be, and that is the people that is in office. As I stated, there are elections coming up next week. And don't just take their word to say, oh, yes, I'm for reparations or whatever. No, do not take anybody's word. Go look at their record. Ask them, can you show me your record on civil rights? Can you show me your record on abdicating for reparations for the slave reparations? Not just today because you're standing in front of them. If they cannot, then give your vote to the opponent. Just because we already know they don't need to be in office. Okay, give your vote to the opposite person. But one thing for sure is make sure you don't vote Democrat. Not this time. Not this time, because they don't pay you what you're worth for your vote. They expect it for free. You have given them your vote continuously, decade after decade. They just bank on it. They don't even try until it's time. And then they want to go, and I hate to use this word, but it is what it is. Then they want to go huckabucking up in the pulpit, begging you to please vote for them. We need one more time, just one more time. I mean, like, come on now. Come on. If you're in a relationship and the person you're in the relationship with keep knocking you upside your head. All right, let's just use layman terms. And they knock you upside your head. Now, some people are going to leave one time after they've been knocked upside the head. All right. Some people might say, okay, after they say, please forgive me, I'll get help, whatever. They might stay a while longer and continue to get knocked upside the head for a season, but then they eventually leave. But you have to know when to leave. It is time for we African Americans to leave the Democratic plantation. If you're there, register yourself as an independent and look at the positions that each candidate stand on, and not just what they tell you out of their mouth, not just what they tell you or the media tells you. Go do some research. Look up the local candidate that's representing you. Make sure that they are responsible for what they have done and what they're doing. Make sure that they pay you for your vote. Vote in your best interest. Don't vote on emotion. Don't let somebody tell you, oh, this person's bad or that person's bad. That's their job to tell that, because they want power. You vote in the best interest of you and your family. If something does not line up with your family or your beliefs, do not vote for the person. I don't care what side of the aisle they're on. It's plain and simple. But what they have proven, and they have been in office now, Biden, only, what was this, November almost, 10 months. 10 months. And look at the travesty. $6.4 billion to bring the Afghans and to settle them, which is AKA reparations. Now they're looking at $450,000 per person, or $1 million per family. There's 940 families, which that's going to equal to what? Almost another $1 billion. That is $7.4 billion that's been paid since January to people that have not paid one tax dollar. It's a lot on that. Think on that. When you get up in the morning to go to work and you get your little paycheck, you got to deal with the people that are on your job, and you get your paycheck and you see that line for taxes, that you have worked 40 hours, some people less, some people more. Think about that $450,000 per person, $1 million per family, $6.4 billion to Afghan refugees, a total of $7.4 billion for people that not only have not paid a dime in taxes, but cannot vote for those that gave your money away. All right. When you go to the store and prices are elevated, and this is not a hate against any other group, like I stated, this is about the Black community stating and understanding that your vote is worth something and you need to be compensated for it. In this case, we need some reparations, because they're giving them to everybody else. Oh, and I forgot about the other reparations that was given this year, be to another minority set of people. And I didn't add that, but they fall within the American citizens. They're taxpayers, so I won't even add that in. Now, like I stated, we're only 10, not even 10 months in. We got another 3 years to 3 years and a few months to go. Can you imagine how much money is going to go to other people that haven't paid a dime? So, as I stated to you before, I highly encourage you to begin to ask your representatives. Like I stated, do not look for most of these civil rights leaders to fend for you, because they on payroll too. They're on payroll, and not the payroll for you, because they're getting those kickback cash dollars. Because as you notice, excuse me, as I stated, none of them have come out and said anything in your defense. I mean, let's look around here. Now, there's been a lot of Black media that have been outraged and doing videos, and we applaud them, just like they've, I'm sure they're applauding us. But the mainstream media, notice, you don't see it up there either. So again, the links to the sites are in there. Demand to know what your representatives stand on, how they have voted, their positions, and ask them for a printed copy of their record regarding reparations for the descendants of slaves. And also ask them how they voted on the other reparations to people that do not belong to this country. Like I stated, funds have to be approved through there. Again, take the purse strings away. You cannot give your vote for free. You cannot. You cannot continue to do that. So we're going to ask you to please like, subscribe, share this video. If anybody have any questions, our contact information is below. If you need some assistance, because we're going to be on this to make sure that we bring awareness. Our platform isn't the hugest, but everybody speaking out about this and demanding information, demanding change, demanding reparations, it has no choice but to come to the front. So again, our information is below. Please like and subscribe. We thank you so much for allowing us into your homes, and stay encouraged. Know that as a Black person, I'm using Black instead of African American in this instance, because and melanated in this I'm using it in this instance because, like I stated, there are those melanated people that with us that state and say that they are the original aboriginals of America. And I'm not trying to disrespect their position. All right. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you. You have a wonderful day.